February 21st, 1977, Monday night. Went to the concert. I had just turned 13 years old, and I was at the Elvis show, and not only did I come to the show with my little Instamatic camera, but it was in February 21st. It was cold outside, so I had the bright idea to sneak my Panasonic tape recorder under my coat, attached to a belt. So not only did I get to see Elvis, but I managed to tape record it. So what I'm going to do is kind of analyze in a few videos some of the things that took place, and I'm going to share some of the recording with you. First thing you're going to hear is right after CC Rider and the I Got a Woman, Amen part of the show, some of the chaos that ensued, and you can actually hear me with my little camera advancing the film and taking pictures and talking to my mother. So I'm going to play a little bit of that for you now. Okay, so what was going on right there was I had taken so many pictures within the first few minutes of the show that I had already run out of flash cubes, because back then you had to put a little flash cube that had 4 sides on it, and you got one flash cube took 4 pictures with the flash, and then you had to change flash cubes. Well, I'd already used all my flash cubes, so many people were taking pictures that it almost looked like he had a strobe light on him. So I was thinking, well, at any given time that I press the button, somebody's flash will be going off. So I was telling my mother, when he does something, I'll take a picture, and then when he moves, that's when everybody will be taking pictures of him, and their flash will light up the image for my camera. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed here. Okay, what happened just there was some of the chaos that was going on, and there was a girl sitting beside of us, and she says Elvis is drinking, and then everybody screams, and then I tell my mom a cop told me to get lost. So a couple interesting things happened there. Number one, the little girl, or the girl beside of us that says Elvis is drinking, Well, I'll go into it in another video, or if you decide to look it up, you can. If you just Google the Elvis Cup guy, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I actually got the cup that Elvis Presley was drinking out of that night. So anyway, that's another story, another video. But Elvis is drinking. I've got that cup that is being talked about in the audio that you just heard. Now, when I say cop told me to get lost, I didn't manage to get the beginning of the concert and CC Rider on tape, because before the show started and I heard all the screaming and everything before or during the intermission that kind of signaled that Elvis had arrived, when I heard all the chaos while they were still having intermission, word went around real quick that Elvis had arrived at the Coliseum. So I told my mom, I gave her some quick instructions. I said, hey, when he comes out, start recording. I'm going to go stand near the stage. So I went down to the stage area and stood and watched Elvis come out, thinking that my mother was going to record Elvis right when he came out. So I managed to stand there for a few minutes while he sang CC Rider, and then a cop came up to me and said, you have to leave the stage area. You have to go back to your seat. So I had to leave and walk back to my seat. Well, when I got back to the seat, I got the tape recorder from my mother, and instead of pressing record, she had pressed play. So I had to think real quick, and I was 13 at the time. Luckily, I could, I knew enough there sitting in the dark, watching the show and trying to feel the buttons, that I was able to rewind the tape and hit record. So that's really the first kind of conversation I'd had with my mother since before the show started, because I hadn't been there. I had been in front of the stage and then trying to find my way back in the dark back to the seat. So when I say cop told me to get lost, I was explaining to her why I was already back at the seat.